Today we're making a leather book with a sun and moon carving on it. So this isn't a paid promotion at all, but I found this crazy Kickstarter, Who Is That in the Sky? A child's first book on Norse mythology. I picked one up for myself, and then I picked an extra one up just to give away as a gift. Just collect them as gifts and give them to your friends who are having kids. That's so easy. You can just have a stack in a corner and just like mail them out. And so that's the inspiration for my little book, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a little tie-in, as you see what I did there. Pretty amazing. There'll be a link in the description of this video for you guys to check out. Enjoy. Also, a bunch of you guys already know from a video I did earlier today, I'm giving away a $750 Lonsdale leather gift card on September 1st. So check the link in the description down below, fill out the information, and get entered into the draw. It'll be completely randomized, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So check that out. Thanks for all the support. And now on with the video, maybe?
You can pick up all the patterns and artwork for my projects on my website, link in the description down below. You can also pick up the same patterns and artwork on the month they were released on my Patreon, so have a look at that. This video is obviously sponsored by Lonsdale Leather. Make sure you check the description down below for links to tools, supplies, and of course, leather. Check them out. I didn't get a chance to do up a perfect pattern before I got going on this project, but if you check out my website and pick up this book, it'll be the same format as I usually do it, all nicely laid out on a PDF for you guys. I've got some small precision cuts to make. I want to make sure my knife, even though it's a new blade, is extra sharp. Cutting halfway through on each side will make sure that you do not cut over and into an area of your leather that you don't want to cut. To get our cover ready for carving, we're going to wet the whole thing. I wet the whole piece, not just the area that I'm carving, just in case there is some kind of discoloration where the dry part of the leather meets the wet part. I want to avoid that, so I just wet the whole thing. Now we're going to cut all our lines with our swivel knife. Now's a good time to mention that I have recently obtained channel memberships here on YouTube. There's a big join button you can see if you're watching this video. It's got some small little perks for you guys if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you want to help support the channel even more, that'd be great. After we've done all the line cuts, we get to beveling it. So this will give it a little more of a 3D look. Where I'm beveling it, it has started to get a little too dry for my liking, so I wet it down and let it dry for a little bit again before stamping it. You don't want to be stamping on super wet leather. So after I've dyed this whole piece and let it dry, I'm going to do the edges. I'm using some tokonole for these edges. I left a little too much tokonole on there. It's not a huge deal. I think I would have kept a little more off of the face of my project, but it still turned out just fine. It gets the edges nice and smooth, and once we've applied an oil, a finish, and some paints. Everything all blends together nicely. Here I am applying a healthy coat of neat's foot oil, which is just like cow oil, to the front and back of my project. I'm going to let it soak in for a while, and then I'm going to apply a finish to it. I'm going to spray the finish on the back and on the top. When dyeing a project on the back, sometimes there's some bleed, so you may want to put a few coats of finish on the back just to be sure. Once this is all dried, we're going to add a antique paste that I've got, which is pretty nice. It's a Phoebing's dark brown. If I had a black, I would have used that, but I'm just using the dark brown here. You're going to rub it into all the cracks and then wipe away the excess. Because we've already sprayed it with a finish, that means that it's not staining your project. It's just diving into all the little cracks and darkening them. This will give your project more depth and make everything blend a little nicer. Now we're going to use some Angelus paints. I love that Lonsdale Leather has the full run of Angelus paints stocked at all times at their store. So check that out if you're interested in these paints. Tons of colors, it's really great. I don't do a lot of painting, so I was a little apprehensive about diving in with paints. A lot of the time I will just antique stain something and maybe put some dye coloring on it. But actual paints I don't work with a ton. So I'm doing a little bit of dry brushing and a little bit of regular painting to get the effect I want, and slowly going from a darker color up to a lighter color to give some highlights. I did a lot of Warhammer miniature painting when I was younger, which helped me out. I wasn't great at painting, but I was probably above the average Joe. So I'm just going to mix the colors up through to a lighter shade, which is really going to help this whole sun design stand out and pop. Just take your time with this kind of stuff. A little more white, a little more white, a little more white, and slowly gradient your way up towards the tip until you're almost applying like just white on the tip. I don't think I applied just white, I can't remember. But it was a nice look. And if you want to use the exact paints that I used, here they are, and now they're gone. Now we're just putting another coat of finish on it to seal everything in. And then it's time for pages. Use the size of the pages. I'm going to do 15 pages at a time. I'm going to be doing 3 sections of 15 pages, folded in half, so front and back. That's 4 pages per 15. So that makes this book a 180-page book. Just creasing it a little more to make sure that it's all set. Now we have to stitch these pages into the book. Don't stress too much about following how I'm doing this exactly to a T. It's not like some magic page stitching technique. Look at your book, look at your pages, look at your holes, do what makes sense, and work your way through the problem. It's not like I learned how to do this or was taught how to do this from anyone. I just saw a book and was like, this is how I think this pages go into the book. So this is how I've done it. It doesn't mean I am a master at this process. So Just do what makes sense. Don't stress about it. It's really not that complicated. The only thing I would remember to do is start your stitching at the back cover of your book so that when you cut your threads, they're all the way at the back of the book. And also, when you tie your two ends of your thread together, make sure they're not both coming out of a page because you're going to tear your pages. What you want them to be doing is both coming out of the leather and getting tied with the reinforcement of the leather, stopping them from ripping any pages. You'll see what I mean here when I get to the end of this first row. So this stitch is going from the back to the front and then back to the back where it's going to get tied off. So here are the two ends of the thread coming up through the cover into the back of the project where I'm going to tie it off and then do a little snip, and then we just have to do the other row. I was going to cut out the footage for this row, but figured I might as well leave it in case you guys catch some little tidbit of camera angle that helps you with this process. But it's all the same as the first row. You can use a V-gouge to help your spine bend more and help this little part of the flap on the book bend more, but then you've got a pretty obvious gouge in your book. On my other video for books, I've actually used this V-gouge, so you can check that video out and see what I'm talking about.
You know what I love the most about this book? I love the painting of it. Now, that's not really a great sell because you got to paint it yourself, but I was a little worried that my painting was going to be absolutely horrific. But I remembered how to paint. I did a lot of miniature painting, so I was just like trying to highlight my way towards victory, and I think it looks pretty cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it if you did. Subscribe for future videos. Hit that notification button so you don't miss any of my content. And until next time, keep on being creative in whatever it is you do.